So you need to think that your video is meant, just like a good salesperson, to break these barriers to sale and to get the user to listen to you. Yeah, so think of your video as a good salesman. Hello digital marketing stars! Today we are going to discuss some tips and tricks for the social media videos that you are using, whether you're thinking YouTube Shorts, TikTok videos or Instagram Reels or maybe Facebook Reels. They are also catching up with all of us. So let's see some of the things that we tested and that worked and that maybe you should test yourself. First of all, and this is basically a must, you should craft your videos for the vertical format. I know it seems like, hello, Captain Obvious, but on the other hand, a lot of advertisers are still doing their videos for landscape mode and then editing and so on. But I would say that if you want to make the most out of these Reels, TikTok ads, YouTube Shorts that you are using, it is very, very important to craft your video for the vertical format and for the 16:9 aspect ratio. So I would say that it is very important to stick with the vertical portrait mode and to craft your ads for the 9:16 aspect ratio. It is also very important to stick with the safe zones of the platform. It's not like your video won't get views if you don't do this, but you actually want your video to be as immersive as possible, as catchy as possible, and to engage the user for a length of time. And that's why it's very, very important to actually make them seem real and immersive on the mobile. On the other hand, the Reels format may not be the format that gives you traffic or conversions. However, they are a very captivating, immersive format, as I already said, and then they really manage to get the user's attention and to stop their thumb from scrolling and swiping. The Meta data, so the representatives of Meta, are saying that 79% of the users stated that they actually bought a product after watching a reel about that product. So the idea is that your Reel video, once they catch the user for some seconds so that they understand more about your product and benefits, they might influence the user to make a decision about a product or a service after viewing that Meta Reel. So that's why it is very important to also use captivating storytelling, because you want the user to watch as many seconds as possible. So you need a hook to get their attention, then you need some information or infotainment or something, some storytelling to get their attention, and you should also make use of sound, voiceovers, subtitles, whatever you can to tell your story and to emphasize the product benefits that you have. You need to think catchy, so that is the main idea. Secondly, you should definitely test different videos. It's the wrong idea to think that you will get a script and get it right out of the box, so the first time. And it is very important to think the testing frame by frame. So maybe segment your script in a few segments of that script, in 4 different mini scripts, let's call them like that. And you should definitely check the main metrics and see if it worked. Whenever we talk about social media, we are thinking reach, organic reach, and engagement rate. But when you are testing the social media videos, you need to also look at other KPIs, both of the KPIs you knew, but also at other KPIs. First of all, you need to check the hook rate. So basically that is how many people saw the first 3 seconds of your video. How many people watched the 3 seconds of your video, the first 3 seconds? Then you need to check your hold rate. So we are basically testing the second part of the video, right? You need to see how many people saw watched the next few seconds of the video. So that is how many people watched more than 3 seconds. So the first one is the hook rate. So how many out of the impressions saw the hook? They watched 3 seconds. The hold rate, how many people watched more than 3 seconds? And then you should definitely see when did the users click. So you need to check your CTR, your click-through rate, and also your conversion rate. But it is important for you to know what was the moment, what was the frame that got your user to click. And you should definitely compare the creatives and go in a frame-by-frame analysis in order to make sure you get the best creative and invest your budget in boosting that particular creative. So the final version, I would say. So the mindset here is to get the perfect creative organically and then invest some budget in it, because it has the best potential to have also good costs and the good return on advertising spent. Third, you need your video to hook the user. So you need to stop their thumb from swiping down or from scrolling down, basically. So the idea here is to try and disrupt what the user does. You need something catchy. You can use whatever you want. You can use close-ups of people talking. You can use out-of-the-box messages. It is very important to try and both emulate the behavior of the users and emulate what people are generally posting and in social media, so that your ad is not so obvious, but it is also important to disrupt a bit. So you need to get the best out of the both worlds in order to stop the thumb from swiping or scrolling. So think about that, yeah? You need something natural but both disruptive. Fourth, do make use of the multi-sensory content. So do make use of voiceovers, sounds, subtitles, all the elements that you can, trending music and so on, in order to also stop the user from scrolling or swiping down. More than 90% of the Instagram and TikTok users are saying, and also Meta is confirming this data, that they are using the platform with the sound on. So sound is a very important element and it should also be considered as part of your ad. And therefore, when you think about your hook and whenever you think about holding the user's attention, you should always involve the audio element and see how this comes into play in your script. 5, and I think I can't emphasize this enough, although I already said it, it's important to go as native as possible. Think about going stealth, yeah? So think about your ads needing to be just as much as the user-generated content as possible. Even though you're trying to sell your product or to generate leads, the idea is that the people don't want to see advertising. So your advertising needs to be masked in user-generated content in order to get the user's attention. All of us, especially in e-commerce, trained the users to only hear about discounts, promotions, campaigns, and so on. And we are all sick of this, and it is also honestly not so good for business, actually, as we know. And therefore, a better investment in terms of ads is to think native, to make your ads as advertising free as possible, and to get the user to get to the advertising part only when they are already persuaded. So you need to think that your video is meant, just like a good salesperson, to break these barriers to sale and to get the user to listen to you. Yes, so think of your video as a good salesman. So just to wrap up the 5 tips that we think you should do or at least test. So first of all, think vertical, think safe zone, yeah? Secondly, test and go for frame by frame testing. Check your hook rate, your hold rate, and then your CTR, and check what is the moment when the users clicked. Do make use of everything you can in order to make your video stand out. So you need your video to be natural, but also to disrupt and stop the thumb from swiping and scrolling. And do whatever you can to stop that thumb. Yeah. 4. Do make use of the multi-sensory options that you have in videos and think about using the audio to your advantage, either to hook the user or to get his attention or to get them from stop being bored of your video maybe and swiping. And 5, but not least, think of your video as a good salesman and make your ad as stealth, as native, as user-generated like as possible. In case you found this video useful, we have more coming up, so don't forget to hit the subscribe button below this video in order to subscribe to Digital Brunch. Until next time, good luck with your online marketing campaigns and don't forget to let them shine bright.